Good morning and welcome back to Antigua, Barbuda. Today in our Caribbean Profile Tuesday, we're going to be shining a spotlight on youth leadership and impact across the Caribbean. So joining us this morning is Justronette Francis, no stranger to AB Today, president of Good Humans 268 Inc., and she's going to tell us more about the Young Leaders of America initiative and how it's shaping the next generation and her involvement as a change maker. Good morning, Justronette.
Good morning.
Always good to have you in studio. Our resident guest. How are you?
I feel so.
Oh, good.
I am excited about Sunday. So, YlAI Young Leaders of America's initiative, you submit an application of over 5,000 of us, and then they narrow it down to 250 of us. So last year, this has actually been a full year in the making. So around this time last year, we applied. Then you were shortlisted. There were several interviews, and then the program officially started online in December. And there's several courses that you take, and then there's an in-person component. So on Sunday, myself and Canis James, we're going to travel to Texas, and then from Texas, we leave next week, Thursday, and we're all going to be dispersed across several states. For me, I am going to Washington, D.C. I'm going to be working with the American University in D.C., and the idea is the 4 weeks that you're there, you are going to learn and enhance whatever business idea you have.
Oh, wow. That sounds exciting. And for young persons hearing about it for the first time, tell us about how you got involved with this. When you applied, how did you hear about it before you took the leap?
So we've had a few Antiguans to do it. Chanel Imhoff, Elijah James, Renee, Rafika Atwood, Ashanti. So several Antiguans heard about, we did it, and then I was telling them, this world of nonprofit and grant writing is a new world to me. I've been a teacher for 11 years. That has been my focus. And since entering the space of nonprofit, you recognize there are actually lots of opportunities for youths to do programs like the one I'm doing and to do other programs. It's just about applying and meeting the deadline and keeping the word count. Because they're very specific about how much words you can put in. And for Canis and I, we were actually selected last year. So this, I will say to anybody, ironically, we've been selected out of 10,000 applications.
Wow.
So last year, we actually were accepted. We went to Barbados, we got our visas. However, because of the political climate, the program was cancelled last year. And we were given the option to become alumni, or we would have to go through the registration process all over again. And there are actually 12 of us from across the region who went through the process again. So we had a major link up in Barbados in February, and it was so amazing that there were 16 individuals from across the Caribbean region, and 12 out of the 16 we were from the batch in 2025. And lots of individuals, they were just not willing, because again, which is what we did, we gave up the option to become alumni and then risk going into the application process again. And it feels good to know that 2 years you applied and you were successful. But I will say the grounds of us applying, well, at least for myself, is based on the work that we're doing with Good Humans 268, waste management and individuals with disabilities. And I'm excited to go to DC.
Yeah.
Like my FPO, which is Fellowship Placement Organization, like the few meetings that we are having, it's going to be amazing what we learn.
And you spoke about going through the process again, and you did it because of Good Humans 268. Tell us about what that process is like, because you work online prior to actually going to the 6 weeks. So what happens prior to the departure?
So in December, there's several modules that you have to complete online. There are lots of things you have to record. There are lots of sessions that you have to be a part of. And just so anybody who wants to apply, because they're going to be a next cohort, when the application comes out, you have to be under 35. So let's just ensure that there's an age range. You apply, and then you're shortlisted, and then you have an interview. On the panel, when I was interviewed first, Rennie was actually on the first panel, and last year when I was interviewed, Dwayne Simon was on the panel. And the idea is, after you're shortlisted, then you go to a next interview, and then you find out that you are actually selected just about November, October, thereabout, and then December, full-fledged, you begin. And I will say to anybody, there's lots of work that goes into the background before actual departure.
Wow. And how are you hoping to benefit overall from this program?
I want to put Good Humans 268 on the map. And not for Joshua. I know a lot of people see me and they see my face, but for all the other individuals with disabilities who are fighting, for Dehana, for Travon, for Jermaine, for Kimoy, for every individual, the 16,000 of us, based on the census in 2011, who has some form of a disability. I want people to know disability isn't something bad. Disability isn't a bad word. And I will say to anybody, I've been practicing my pitch, because a part of Departure is a pitch competition where you have to pitch your business. And I will say, I don't want to win from Mina. I want to win because people should know disability isn't a bad thing. Disability is something that lots of us celebrate, and what we need is more investment, more infrastructure, and we need more people empathetic to the cause.
And your pitch will be pitching for Good Humans 268?
Yes.
Oh, I was just wondering if you created a new business idea for this. Okay, awesome. Now, let's speak about when you return, are there any obligations or fulfillments that you have to commit to?
You have to spend 2 years in the country. You can't migrate, and you also have to implement whatever you learned. So for me, my FPA, one of the things that we want to do with Good Humans 268, as an educator for the last 11 years, the system that the US have and Canada have, I want us to do it here. I want students to, it becomes mandatory for students to volunteer. One of the things I find as an educator is that students don't have that empathetic feel. So what needs to happen is it has to become a part of the graduation criteria. You have to volunteer for a particular amount of hours for you to graduate primary school, and the same thing for secondary school. And what would happen every year, you're going to volunteer at several different organizations, because one organization cannot give 17,000 students. So the university in DC, they have a system in place where they're interacting with 150 nonprofits. You log on to the platform so you can see the different organizations, what is happening, and they're able to track volunteer hours. So my task is to go and find out how we can duplicate that system right here in Antigua and Barbuda, because our young people are disconnected. There's so many great things happening, and I will say even students in the lower class, if their parents can't afford to teach them swimming, they would never go to a swim meet. But if we're able to take them on the weekend for them to volunteer at a swim meet, to get involved with EAG, to get involved with INHO, to get involved with us, there's so many different nonprofits doing great things. And what has to happen, we need to broaden students' horizon and make it mandatory for them to volunteer in order for them to graduate.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, especially because the corporate body has to support it as well. Because as you're saying, putting over 100, well, more than in per term or per year into the system requires good support and coordination. Now, when we look at your passion, how did you become so passionate about youth development and overall non-profit and giving back to society?
So I would say to anybody, like even for my pitch, it starts fired, fighting for the last 5 years.
FFF?
Fired, so it goes fired, fighting for the last 5 years.
Okay,
I was fired because of a disability. The doctors predict that by 40, the cartilage in my knees are failing me and I might not be able to walk. I don't want people to know my name. You don't need to know my name. All you need to know, that girl was fired and now she's fighting for the rights of individuals with disabilities. And it's been an emotional journey. So like recently, the UN would have reached out to several organizations and I was selected. And I had to talk about the story of Good Humans 268 and two clips of the videos on YouTube, and it's been an emotional journey. Like when you get labeled as disabled, your world changes. I will say to anybody, if anybody trying to get a mortgage, you know the process. You gotta go to the bank, you gotta get approved, you have to do the house plan, you have to pay DCA, you have to pay the people to draw the plan, you have to do so many evaluations. I spent over $5,000.
If you change the plan, you have to go back to DCA.
And if you change the plan, and then the architect, and $5,000 gone down the drain. Because I was diagnosed with a disability. As a company, you were supposed to pay for a full diagnosis and you didn't pay for everything. I will say, and I don't even have a major disability. So for information purposes, disability is classified as mild, moderate, severe, and profound. So I fall under mild. You see me? Individuals who wear glasses, Steve, they're mildly disabled. They put on their glasses and they go about their day. For me, I would just need to rub some pain meds. However, individuals who are blind.
I just gotta put it on record that Steve is mildly disabled.
Yes, he is. And think about it logically.
Yes,
if he removes his glasses,
yes, he's impaired.
He's impaired. And we have lots of people on island If they have one day without their glasses, their life goes in shambles.
Anytime he disrupts me, I'm going to remove his glasses.
Yes.
Okay.
Run with it.
Okay. We can move on now.
And I like to use the glasses, and then you go someone who might lose vision in one of their eyes, and then someone who lose their vision completely. So now we have the same type of disability on different spectrums. So for me, I have arthritis. The cartilage in my knees are failing me ever so often. I have issues with my knees. It has someone whose leg is amputated. It has someone who's paralyzed. So all of us are having physical disabilities with our legs. It's just at different levels. What society sees is the severe and profound individuals with disabilities. Society doesn't understand that there's beauty in disability. It's a community of people who are happy. We all don't need to look sad and dreary around the place. I said to somebody, as a teacher, I believe you need to be prepared and fabulous. And the same thing with disability. Comb your head and shut up, no man. The narrative that we're always beggars, it needs to change. And the reality is we need to provide jobs. Can you imagine a system where we're coordinating 100 NGOs every year? That means we need to coordinate food, school bus, tracking the data. That means we're going to give individuals with disabilities jobs. We're going to enhance our education system, because what is happening, a lot of young people are leaving school and they don't know what's happening. They don't even know Great Bird Island. They need to volunteer at some point throughout the 17 years in school. I'm talking about kindergarten to they need to see Bird Island.
Yeah.
And that means we need to put things in place to ensure that all students can experience. IHO has a gender-based walk every year. Every year we should have students knowing that violence against women is wrong.
Yeah. And I like how the analogy you would have given in terms of being mild, moderate, severe, or profound, because while we made a joke about it and we laughed a little bit, it really helped to put into perspective the persons who are suffering or disabled in Antigua and Barbuda. Now, when we look at what challenges young leaders face, we know the challenges that Good Humans or non-profit organization faces in terms of funding and getting the buy-in. But as a young leader, personally, and going on this initiative, what challenges do you face?
Our biggest challenge has, and I can't wait for the day, it's no longer a challenge, has been finance. So I said I've been reaching out to all of the sponsors, please contact me. So I'm going to DC, and I've been reaching out to every person I know, because I would like to be sponsored to go to Louisiana. There's a company in Louisiana, glass half full. They turn glass into sand. So I would like to get tickets and accommodation for 4 days in Louisiana. So I sent to all of the people that I know. And if you're able to sponsor, I really appreciate it. Because one of the biggest problems we have on island, and even my pitch says that waste is worth. Bars, restaurants, hotels, everybody, if we can convert our glass into sand, we can help fix the breach in Barbuda. And for those who don't know what the breach in Barbuda is, Barbuda was once connected like this, and then after Hurricane Irma, there's now a space. If we're able to get to dump sand in here, it's going to fix the breach. And the company in Louisiana, they're doing exactly that. They convert glass into sand, and it's to restore the coastal lines of Louisiana. And I'm hoping that during the 6 weeks, at least 4 days, I'm going to be able to go to Louisiana, speak to them and understand. And then I want to come back and pitch as a country, not Good Humans 268. I've actually reached out to the Tourism Authority, Galley Bay. I'm speaking to them there. If collectively all of the bars and restaurants pledge $10,000 towards the machine, because the machine is $116,000 US. As a country,
oh, that's affordable. That's not so expensive.
It's not so expensive.
Yeah.
As a country, and I want Tourism Authority to own the machine. That way, annually, every company that's a part of it, we contribute to the maintenance of the machine. All of the glass would come to that facility, and we can use. My idea is to fix the breach, but we don't have to fix the breach. That sand can be used for construction. Even to get that facility up and running, we got to coordinate collection and several things. That means we're going to be able to give jobs to individuals with disabilities. Think about Carnival. All of the mass troop, the thousands of glass that's going to go to the landfill. We've had 2 oil spill. We have 2 fires and an oil spill recently. We have to change the way waste is managed. And the idea is in Louisiana is to get the technology and the experience to come back home, change the structure of waste management, and give individuals with disabilities jobs.
Oh, I really love the way you are thinking, especially with being able to fill that gap or that breach that Barbuda faces, and expanding even further to the Ministry of Tourism, because the Tourism Authority, we know, does the marketing, but as a collective in Antigua and Barbuda, as we come together, we can do so much more. Now, you're going on this initiative, Joshua, you're excited. I should have said early in the conversation, congratulations, because it took quite a journey to get to this place. And when you come back, what are you most excited for and looking forward to? Because we know you're leaving on Sunday, is it?
Sunday, yes.
Okay, and when you get back, what are you going to give to us?
I want to come back with the knowledge of how we turn glass into sand.
Okay.
I want to come back, and when I go to Tourism Authority, I know what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the mission is to change how we manage waste in Antigua and Barbuda and give individuals with disabilities jobs. I will say we have a problem with waste, yes, but and we want to fix the problem with waste and give jobs to the marginalized group in Antigua and Barbuda, because I do nothing if we don't have no nice job. We want cars, land, we want to change that, and the only way to change that is to solve a problem, and we have a problem with our landfill. We've come up with a plan, as I told you. It's not one company, it's all of the restaurants, all of the bars contributing that initial $10,000. I will say Galilee, we're in the conversation and they've already technically pledged the first $10,000. The GMD is going to speak to the board, and the idea is to get Antigua and Barbuda. So when we're marketing, we can brand ourselves as eco. We as a country, we've all come together. We bought a machine, so none of our glass is going to the landfill. Can you imagine Chogam? We can brag that we have the machine on island. None of the glass that we've used during Chogam went to the landfill. If we're able to compost all the food that we consume during Chogam, the possibilities of marketing Antigua as not just the beach is not the beginning. We are now taking the environment into consideration and giving individuals with disabilities jobs. That is the mission.
I definitely look forward to that. And while you were speaking, I remember as well the single-use ban, the ban on single-use plastic, which we used as a, marketing push. So it would be good to have something else added to our name as Antigua and Barbuda. Now, before you leave, I know I said the last question, but I have to ask you about the Guinness World Book of Records, that accomplishment. How is it going with the corks?
We have completed the flag, 28,000 buttercups. It's now at the stadium, and the idea, the flag is going to move to several locations around the island so individuals can enjoy it. And from that 28,000 caps, based on the calculation, we need 98,000 caps to create all 56 flags for Chogam. And I will say to anybody, again, the reason why for Good Humans 268, it's never the traditional, okay, we're just going to do a little flag. You have to go big or go home. People need to know when they hear the word disability, disabled, they should know there are a group of people who are working towards changing the status quo. Hannah, and I speak about her a lot, Potter's primary first 5 years, could not use the bathroom because of accessibility. That cannot be her story in secondary school. She has to get a job when she becomes older. She has to have a piece of land. She has to have a car, and that means for now, I have to be the champion and get thousands of people behind of me. And I will say, even I'm asking for a sponsor. I need a sponsor to Louisiana. Can you imagine if we come back and next year we can brag? We have a machine, and all of our hotels on island, we are not sending that glass to the landfill. All of our events, we're not sending that glass to the landfill. And we have been able to give 50 people jobs who have a disability. It becomes something that we are proud of as a country and put Antigua and Barbuda on the map.
Yeah, well, I look forward to seeing your impact. You are so passionate about all of the things that you do and the persons who are benefiting. And Antigua and Barbuda on a whole, I know that they're truly grateful, and we are. So thank you so much, Joshua.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome, you're welcome. Well, you know what? Stay tuned with us on Antigua Barbuda. Today we have so much more coming up for you. And of course, Joshua travels on Sunday to the Young Leaders in America's Initiative. Okay, I got it. All right, now, so we'll be back with more.